All right, let's call this regular meeting to order. Regular meeting agenda Tuesday, May 5th, 2020, 7:30 p.m. online remote meeting. Call to order, and we'll do the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance.
The flag, United States of America, Republic of stands, nation, under God, liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call.
Mary Lopez.
Dave Sauter.
Pete Zabras.
John Kerwin.
Jeff Bluff.
Dan Wall's here.
Brett Olbreeze.
Jessica Pennell.
Steve McCary.
Pat.
I'm here.
Okay, sign in. I didn't hear you.
Okay.
Okay, so Pat Coachero is here as well. Okay, seating and alternate, we need none because we have everybody with us. And we're good there. Public hearings continued. New Haven Rowing Club, we decided to table until we do this live. Public hearing none. Future public hearings, these are all coming up and already been scheduled for May 19th. All three. Regular business, none. Amendments to the agenda. Jessica, do we have anything?
No.
Audience of citizens, is there anything that anybody from the public would like to talk about that is not on the agenda? Is there anybody that is from the public that would like to talk about anything that is not on the agenda?
So that involves me or not?
Who is
You have
that?
to identify yourself for the record.
Alan Goldstone.
Okay, Alan, did you have something to say?
He's on the agenda.
He's on the
Am I on
agenda.
the?
Well, he's on the agenda as enforcement actions, but we have already done the actions, so there's really nothing until the problem's resolved.
That's
The
correct.
problem was resolved 6 days ago, and you're still taking enforcement action.
Say that again, Alan?
The vehicles were registered on February 18th. You guys are still sending me letters and action, and I've made an attempt to correct the problem, and I've got it all documented to correct it. You guys are still coming down on me about this.
Jeff, this is on, we're on the audience of citizens. He's on the agenda.
He's not on the agenda. That's just enforcement that Steve has taken action. It's just I had Steve and Jessica leave the stuff on there, like the table of things, so that we know what's going on. So Alan, if all the vehicles are registered, just send in the proof that they're registered, and we'll stop action.
Well, there's one problem. Vehicles that aren't registered, and unless you have a way of registering because he is closed, there's nothing I can do about that.
Well, how many vehicles are registered right now?
There are 7 registered in Connecticut. They're still legitimately registered. My business is still in Massachusetts. I had to do that because it was in transition, which I have just, and then there are 2 unregistered.
Yeah, Jeff, the problem is, one, he's on zoning enforcement. I believe this is line 2, section 8 of the agenda. 3, in his correspondence, he admitted that he's storing vehicles. This is a residential property. You can't store business vehicles there. So whether he registers them or not, they're not personal vehicles. It's outside,
I'm the owner of the business.
not out of your house. And you can't
Well,
store
the business is
vehicles.
registered at my house.
I'm speaking now, sir, if you don't mind. You can't use a residence to store business vehicles. It's a residential use.
Okay. So what am I supposed to do with the business that closed in Massachusetts, still incorporated?
I have no idea. Probably bring them somewhere where you can store them. But you can't store them in a residential property. People can't just turn their property into a parking lot for business vehicles.
Well, they aren't labeled or anything, so.
Well, your letters pretty much indicate what you just said is that your business got closed down and their vehicles pursuant to your business. They're not personal use vehicles. You don't need 16 pickup trucks for your personal use. You have to move them.
Well, not for nothing, and don't like, but isn't it my business what I have for my personal use? This is still America.
Yeah, it is still America, but still Oxford too, and there's still zoning regulations.
Well, I'm paying taxes on 7 of them now in Oxford. So, and the rest will be, as soon as I can do some others, as soon as motor vehicles open, or I can sell them, but nobody can drive them out of here, get register them, and they'll be gone.
Store them someplace. Find a place where you can store them.
How can I do that
for a year?
All vehicles, not.
So I guess we can move on, Jeff.
Yeah, there's, the measure still has not been completely correct. But what I would-
There is still, excuse me, there is still the matter of you guys are fines.
Yeah, what evidence have you sent to us showing us they're registered or anything else?
Well, last I checked, isn't it your job to give me speak and not my job to?
Okay. All right, now, you put a cease and desist. It's your job to fix the problem. I'm
The
not.
problem was fixed February 18th. That's when I registered the majority of them. This is registered in Massachusetts. Right now, there's one additional besides the one I'm allowed.
Great. Can you provide the proof of that, and then we'll deliberate and make a decision when to stop.
How do I provide proof the vehicle is not registered?
All you need is registration of the vehicle.
It's not registered.
Current. Then the regulation is just, Vice Chair John Kerwin just told you that it is a residence. You're not allowed to park business vehicles that's stated in your letter. Secondly, you're allowed one unregistered vehicle, so you're still in violation if you have more than one unregistered vehicle.
That would be by one. Right now, you guys, like, tell me how I can register that vehicle. I would like to know.
Alan,
Does anybody have an answer on that?
say it again, Alan. You're echoing terribly.
If one of you guys have an answer for me as to how I can register a vehicle right now in violation, I would love to know it.
Yeah, it's not our business to give you answers, sir. I mean,
No, but it is your business when you're finding me something, a problem that I can't correct.
The vehicles have been there for a year, if not longer. So, you know, you
No.
can't say, okay, now tell me how to register them. It's not our job. We asked you to move the vehicles and comply with the regs.
Well, you can't sue me for something that can't be correct.
Yeah, it can be corrected. You can get a tow truck. You can move them all to a parking lot where you can store them.
No
There's
problem, I'll
places
send you
to
the bill.
store vehicles.
Alan, just all you have to do is correct the measure that what you're saying, and then we stop.
Well, as I was told, the commission told me and made an attempt to correct the problem. It would be sufficient, as long as I was making an attempt to correct the problem, which I've done.
Alan, all you have to do is provide in writing what you're saying, and that's all we need.
Fine, I'll take care of it.
Okay. And just let us know. Send the information to Steve, and as soon as he gets all this information, and you have completed what we have set the violation on, we'll stop, and we'll finalize and end it.
No problem. I'll also provide other houses that are in violation also.
I'm sorry, what was that last part?
I will also provide residents that are in violation. You guys can, in those also.
Okay.
You're welcome to call into Steve and make formal complaints on all the people that you would like that are breaking the violation, and we'll look into it. No problem.
Very good. Very good.
Okay, have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, you too.
Is there anybody else from the audience that would like to talk about something that is not on the agenda? One more time, is there anybody else from the audience that would like to talk about something that is not on the agenda? Okay, hearing none. We're going to move on to correspondence. We have none. Business, matters in which a public hearing was held, none. Hang on one second. Okay, you know what, for the people that are echoing, I wonder if your speakers are too loud.
Hey, Jeff.
Because there is a delay on the speaker, just so turn on your speaker as much as you can.
Jeff,
Yes.
this is Brett Olbreeze. I would ask that everybody mute themselves, and then when they want to say something, they unmute themselves.
I'm okay with that if they're comfortable with that. Old business, other matters, Z-Pheasant Run, owner applicant, 489 Investments, public hearing waiver request for excavation of 13,320 cubic yards of material. We do have a letter from Jim Galligan on this. Okay, so this is from Jim Galligan. Dear Mr. Luff, Nathan and Young Engineers Incorporated is in receipt of the plans of the above referenced parcel. The proposal is for placement of over 13,000 cubic yards of fill material to make the parcel pad ready for a proposed industrial building in the industrial zone. Preparation of this lot is in this manner is consistent with the industrial subdivision approved by Town of Oxford Planning and Zoning Commission for this road. We offer the following. 1, please provide a copy of the approval for the excavation proposed on lot 10 Woodruff Hill Road, from which the fill material is proposed as borrow. Please provide a plan of transportation route between lot 10 Woodruff Hill and the lot on 1R Pheasant Run. Please provide 3, please provide locations of intermittent silt fencing, which represents 20% stages of filling operation to the site. 4, fill material to be placed under structural elements will need to be placed as a controlled fill and certified to be compacted to 95% maximum dry density compaction rate or better. The applicant is responsible for the coordination of his equipment with the Town of Oxford building inspector. 5, please provide an approximate time frame in which for the completion of this project, including the number of vehicle trips and load sizes. The commission should consider placement of surety protection against damage of protection against the damage of the town roads of this operation. The applicant has requested a waiver of the public hearing process. The commission should consider the potential of public interest that abuts what is that word, John? Butters of the transportation route.
Butters. People who live next to, yeah, it's a butters.
Okay. Interesting words that you guys have. When debating this request, I don't mean that facetiously, John. Interesting words. Legal words, whatever.
Yeah.
All right, so that's Jim Galligan. So I did talk to him, Jim, and that's his, because this transport, it's going to be 880 trucks according to my calculation. And we should get a time frame in which it's going to be done. So what I figured is it's 880 trucks over 6 months, working 5 days a week. It's about 7 trucks a day. So we should get some of these answers done. Jessica, did we receive anything from Mark or his representative?
Yes, C1 from Civil One here.
Okay, C1, please let us know what you have.
Sure. We do have a response to this letter, and I'm not sure if you have a copy of it.
There we go.
I haven't seen it.
Did you guys all get the packet?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, it should have been in there.
This was.
So,
Wow.
Jeff,
Yep.
can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Looks like there's going to be 16 to 18 truckloads per day.
Yeah.
I guess he's concurring R7. They concur. They will have the public hearing.
Where are you reading that, John?
C1's response, C7. The applicant has requested a public. It's the last comment. So there, it's R7. They concur with Mr. Galligan's comments about us considering the potential public interest of abutters of the transportation route when debating this request. So,
Sigwan, so that's what you would like to do?
No, we concur with the commission's discussion on this, and whatever the commission decides suitable.
all right. So maybe a point of order. So what we're discussing is whether to waive the public hearing, right?
Yep. So is there, go ahead, John, do you have something?
Yeah. Should we start discussing that now? I don't know if anyone else had any other comments, but I guess we can go to deliberate on whether we're going to.
This is Pat Cottrell. I have a comment on this. Do we have a map or something of the truck route?
Yes, I just forwarded Jessica. Sorry, I forgot to forward to you.
Jessica, if you can email that to me, I'll put it up.
Okay.
Because I believe that route is what would make a public hearing relevant or not.
Yeah, I kind of think my feeling is that we should have the public hearing just because of the volume of material, the number of trips. I mean, this would have an impact on that particular area.
But if it's all in the industrial zone, that's what I wanted to see.
Even if it is, there's still, as you know, there's residential areas in the industrial zone, unfortunately, and
but do we need to penalize the industrial users as a result of it?
We're not penalizing them by just enforcing what's required. I don't consider having a public hearing a penalty. It's part of the democratic process. Let the people come in and say if they have a problem with it or not, and then we can decide. But I'd hate to be in a position where a couple of months down the road, people come into our hearing and say, who approved this? How come we didn't get a right to have any kind of input? And we say, well, we decided not to give the public any input in this process. That's the issue. I don't think I don't really see a problem with the application. It's just I don't particularly like waiving public hearings because it seems to controvert the whole purpose of what we're doing here and the way the regulations are written. So that's my take.
Anybody else have any comments?
Yeah, Pizza Brass.
Go ahead, Pete.
If it wasn't that many trucks, I'd say maybe it's a possibility of skipping a public hearing, but with that many trucks and that many loads, I really feel there should be a public hearing.
Okay.
Hey, Jeff, Brett Olbers.
Anybody else?
Brett Olbers, Jeff.
Go ahead, Brett.
So I have a question as far as the public hearing would be concerned. So let's say we receive input that people don't like the fact that there are so many truckloads. Would we be reconsidering the route as the issue or not allowing trucks whatsoever? I guess I'm just trying to understand what the outcome of the public hearing could potentially be.
Good question.
Brett, it would give people the opportunity to come in and object, whether their objection would be well-founded or not. It would allow them to participate. It might not affect the route at all. But I think it's important that that those people are able, anyone who wants the input can come in and say, this isn't good. And it's not just the routes. I mean, it's also all the other things that are involved in the application that they can comment on. So, I think the route is the most important thing because of the impact on the roads and the volume of trips per day. But that's not the only thing.
Okay, thank you.
What other things would there be, John?
They can comment, the public can have any input they want on it. They could comment on, whether it's necessary, if it has an effect on basically all the conditions for a special exception under Article 10. If it like I said, the input might not be that important, or it might not be, something that we would consider, but I think they can have input on any of the criteria for a special exception for the public hearing. It's an excavation permit, so it has the same criteria.
Okay. We have a busy packet, Jessica, for public hearings or special hearings. What's the next available date?
You guys can hear me? I think it's the first meeting in June.
June. So that would be
sorry.
Tuesday the 2nd. Anybody else feel that we should not have a public hearing?
Pat Cucciaro, I definitely feel we should not.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'd like to see the route. Was that emailed over? I'm curious what the route is.
Oh, you can't see the route right here?
No.
I could see it.
You're not looking
Where
at the
is it?
screen?
I don't see it.
You're not seeing my screen?
No.
I see it.
I see it.
I see it as well.
No, I don't see it, Jeff.
No, I don't see it either.
What are you seeing, guys?
We're seeing the agenda.
I just see black. And then
I see the
I've got the side screen with the,
I have a map with this. I had a map.
Yeah, I had the map as well. Now I have there it is. There's the map.
I had a map.
Maybe it froze.
No, I could see it. Jeff, you just flipped between tabs. So
Yeah, so try to refresh, Dave and John, because everybody else is seeing it.
What it looks like, it goes from Willenbrock to Hawley to Christian to Giuliano to Commerce, and I can't read the last one. I'm getting too old.
So it's Commerce to Woodruff.
Hill.
Got it now.
Oh, you see it?
Yeah, I refreshed it. I jumped the meeting and came back in.
Well, it sounds like there's, I tend to agree with Pat, because the only thing I see the public saying is that we just don't want it to drive by them, and the only other option is to go through more residential area. Mark has been approved for removal of this material, and he also been approved for the site. So I don't know what the public are going to say or export testimony or legal. I just don't see what they can say or do to stop this.
Hey, Jeff, I agree. I don't know what they might say or do that could change anything either. The only thing that I think about is just from a transparency and why we didn't give anybody an opportunity to say anything. That's really where I just hesitate a little bit. I don't think we can change it, but what does it say if we just did it and don't give anybody a chance to say anything? It just,
that's the real issue. I agree with Dave.
yeah,
John Kerwin. I don't think anybody's going to come in and change my mind, but it's, Christian Street, there's some residences there. You got to give people, I feel that we have to give people the opportunity to come in and at least address us, and whenever there's something like this where you're waiving a public hearing, it just doesn't look good. I think it reflects badly on the board, but, we can put it to a vote.
So Brett, which way do you think on this?
I can see it both ways, but I'm tending to lean more towards no public hearing, because again, having to change the route, I don't see that happening. So no matter what anybody says, it's really not going to impact it. So delaying it 1 month when, our actions probably would ultimately result in no change just seems like an unnecessary delay to me to allow him to get going with that.
All right, so we have Brett, myself, and Pat, and John, Dave, and Pete. Dan? Dan Wall, are you there?
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah. It was on mute, of course. Yeah, I mean, I don't see any, I don't see any problem with making sure we have a public hearing.
So you want a public hearing?
Yeah, I don't see any issue with that.
Okay. So Brett and Pat, I think we should have the public hearing because it's 4-3 basically.
Should we just put it to an official vote or no?
No, it's good enough because I counted myself. So it's John, Dave, Dan, and Pete. So that's the majority.
Okay.
So Jessica, can you set up? Before I go, Sigwan?
Yes.
What kind of time frame are you on here?
I had a discussion with Mark. He's not in a rush, and he's trying to spread it out during the fall, and whatever the commission needs, he's okay with it.
All right, so you're okay with putting it in the first week of June?
Yeah, I don't see that a problem.
Okay, Jessica, let's schedule this for a public hearing on June 2nd at 7:30.
Okay.
Do I have a motion?
Yeah, so moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The vote goes through unanimously. Okay, thank you, Zigwan, for your time. Tell Mark that's what we've decided to do.
Will do. Thank you.
All right, take care.
Jeff, before we go on, I noticed that there's a lot of people here in the meeting, and I don't know if when we had an echo earlier, people heard you say that the postponement of the hearing on Roosevelt Drive.
The New Haven Rowing Club?
Yeah.
Okay. The rowing, for people that are here for the rowing club, this application, due to the coronavirus, has been, by law, has been allowed us to extend this 95 days, I believe. So we're going to keep postponing this because I know a lot of people from the public signed a petition that they want to talk about it. So we're going to wait until we can actually have our public, our meetings again, our public meetings. So you will be able to voice your opinions then.
All right, a lot of people are leaving now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chairman Love, can you hear me? This is Joe Wren.
This is who? Please identify.
Joe Wren, representing the rowing club.
Okay.
And we weren't aware postpone it, but Jessica was nice enough to chat during the meeting, so that's how we found out. So we just want to confirm that that's postponed and it's not going to your next meeting, it's to an unknown date in the future when we can come in person.
Go ahead, Jess.
I believe that we discussed waiting until we could have in-person meetings, but they did postpone it to the 19th, and I believe Pat said at that point, we can discuss it again at that meeting to see if we still need more time before we're going to be in person again.
Okay, and my other question is, we heard of a petition being signed, but we haven't seen it, and I did not see it on the list of publicly viewable documents on your website. So
You're right.
is there any way we can get a copy of that, or will be made available online?
Joe, I don't think that's been registered in the town yet.
Okay.
Jessica, is that correct?
We have it in the office. The signatures and things like that have not been officially
Verified.
verified.
So when does it become an official petition? When it gets registered with Margaret at the town clerk?
Yeah, I have to talk to her about that. And I'll see her tomorrow. And we have to figure out how to handle that. Usually they hand them to planning and zoning. There's a lot of people on that petition, but I can scan it and put it up on with the documents. I should do that.
And is it just signatures, or does it have them printing out their name and their address? Do you know?
It has their signatures with their name and address.
Okay. All right. So is this something that we can verify their addresses while we're during this virus thing, so we're not delayed any longer?
Yes, since we're going back into town hall, we should be able to give it to the town clerk, and she should be able to verify the addresses with the voter list.
But that would only be
Okay.
Oxford voters. Anyone
Right.
signed outside of Oxford wouldn't be able to be verified.
Right.
Okay, that'd be a good idea, Jess, when we get back in there. I know you're still out for a while, but let us know when. Just it'd be nice to get that done, so when we finally get together, we can get this going.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, Pat Cotrella here. If you're going to put this document up online before the signatures are verified,
Mhm.
it should go on with a disclaimer that it is not a verified document.
Okay.
Well, Jessica, why don't you put it up on our drive first for the board members to see?
Okay.
And then when it is verified, then I would put it online.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, Joe, so the 19th, we'll be able to make the next decision. And I'm sorry about the delay.
Okay, thank you, be well.
Stay healthy. Okay, thank you for bringing that up, Jess.
No, it's okay.
All right, so the future public hearings, then we go back down, correspondence, business. New business, scheduled public hearings. Well, we just did it. Okay, new business, other, none, zoning enforcement. So just to catch you guys up on 317 Riggs, this is Matt Zalumis's place. We did look it up, and there's only supposed to be 4 vehicles there to be parked outside for repair at 315 Riggs. And 317 Riggs has no permit or application for anything. It's a lot that Mark Oskowski sold to Matt Zalumis, from what I understand, and no application for that 317 Riggs. So that's still continuing on. And there's a lot more than 4. 27 Solano Drive, that's Alan, which you heard him on the audience of citizens. Municipal planner, possible discussion with action. Keith, are you in here?
Mr. Chairman, Pat Cotrella here for a moment.
Okay.
Before we move on to zoning enforcement, that 317 Riggs Street, is there a cease and desist on there now?
Steve, I believe there is. Yes. Steve, verify. Steve, are you there?
He's on mute.
Well, if there's not one, we should put one on as soon as possible.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go
Can
ahead,
you hear
Steve.
me? Yes, there is a cease and desist. I emailed it to him. He received it. He called me. He said he was going to register the cars or get them off the property. He did move some. I don't know how many. I'll get a count tomorrow. And he also asked if he can come in for a permit for that property to store them there, but he doesn't have a building there. That's the problem.
We'll have him figure out what, based on our regulations, how he wants to come in as. And he knows how to read our regulations. He's been doing it long enough. And have him come in for an application, how he wants to approach it. I don't know what he's going to come in as, but maybe he's creative enough to figure something out.
So we're still on enforcement, correct?
Yes, sir.
John Kerwin, how is the person on Berry Road? I went by there. He got rid of his bulldozer. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
He got rid of his bulldozer, a couple trailers, some other stuff. We've been going back and forth with email and text messages. He said he has a lot more to do.
Yeah, I drove by there today. It looks like there's a couple of dump trucks, and he might have just moved the stuff to the back of the lot. Due to the topography of the lot, you can only see the first section of that area where he's parking.
Right.
And then it looks like you can go up and back. There's some piles of garbage and trailers and whatnot.
You can see that from the road?
Yeah.
Because I know from what he said, Mr. Valinsky said, he doesn't want it like that. He's going to work on it. Because apparently he just moved it. And he does have a contracting business. And I don't have that registered. So maybe I'll send him a letter to come in for that.
Yeah. Can he have a contractor's yard he has, or?
Well, yeah. I mean, he's a private contractor. He does excavation work and tank removal. So, the equipment's supposed to be out of the sight of the general public or an enclosed building. The perfect contractor's yard is, an electrician with one van. He pulls in the garage, has a small office. It kind of gets blown out proportional.
Yeah, I think a contractor's yard doesn't exist in a residential. It would be, you would have.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm sorry. In-home business.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, he doesn't have a garage or anything to store.
Right.
His vehicles.
Well, there's a section of in-home business that it says it's got to be out of the sight of the general public. However you want me to do it.
But you're only allowed
photos. I could.
Yeah, he's got. I think there's at least 2 dump trucks there.
Excuse me, who are we talking about?
16,000 pounds. So I'll go out. I'll get some photos. We'll put them up on our drive, and we'll talk about it. At the next meeting.
Hey, Jessica.
Yeah.
Put this in as number 3 and write the address so like Pete can get it and everybody else can stay along with us. So
what do you want me to do?
I'm asking them to keep everything in the agenda so we know what's going on.
Okay.
And then basically next to 317 Rig Street, put in cease and desist and the date.
Okay.
And the Solano cease and desist on the date. And then when something happens, we'll put a quote next to it or something. And put number 3 in there with Steve and John's, what they were just talking about, please.
Okay.
Yeah, Jess, I'll see you tomorrow morning, Jess. I'll get you that stuff.
Okay.
Excuse me, Pizza Brass, who are you talking about, John and Steve? Who are they talking about?
Guy up on Berry Road and Bowers Hill. The guy on East Drive has to come in for a wetland approval. I'm waiting on that for him. Apparently, he dumped a bunch of stuff in the wetlands. He did some bulldozer work. Wasn't supposed to. He said the neighbor said it was okay. The neighbor said, no way. I want property. So I'm going to let Mike Hurd handle that. He's got the sign-off sheet for the cottage business. Once he gets wetlands, then I'll bring him to the kitchen.
Okay.
Is this the same guy you were just talking about, Steve, or a different one?
No, John, this guy's on what is it, Pete? East Street?
East Street, yes.
Yeah, right behind Nardelli's, like.
Is it
I've got
something
two
that we need-
photos.
Steve, do we
What's
need
that?
to make that number 4? Do we need to
Yeah,
make that number 4?
Okay.
I also, today, found a bunch of signs, and I found the guy's website, emailed him a fine, and, a nice, soft email. They're popping up everywhere.
Yeah,
I myself and Jeff have been Pete too. It's just so hard to keep up.
Yeah, guys, if you're seeing signs that are like house washing or asphalt ceiling driveways or whatever, just please text Steve where they are, and let's get them pulled, because these guys are getting crazy with the signs everywhere.
Yeah, the
Yeah, they're all-
blacktop's popping up too.
Yeah,
They're
no,
all out of
sorry.
they're out of Trumbull.
Yeah.
You guys got to Trumbull.
Yeah, so
I
Steve
pulled some
and
last
myself-
Tony.
Okay.
Okay.
You good, Steve?
Yes, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, I'm good.
Amendments to the zoning regulations, set public hearing. So Keith, and I know Pat, we're working on this. How you doing, Keith? What do you got?
I'm doing pretty good. I hope all you are during the crisis.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
Yeah, very good. And thank you. And nice to see you all. It's my wish that you all have received copies of the update and you've been reviewing it for the content and form, and etc. I'm sure we'll talk about this a little bit after I do, and then we can discuss either next steps could be. I wrote it out to understand what we've done. First of all, we've matched up the land uses found in the table of uses to those specific zoning district sections, and some have changed to match actually the aims of the zone. We've added a number of definitions of new land use terms that are throughout that were not defined within the regulations. We disassembled section number 3 and placed each section in more areas. Some of the sections became sections themselves. Parking, such as parking non-conformity and prohibited uses. We distinguished between uses allowed by right and those like site plan approval and also special permit. We've changed all the special exceptions to special permits in name only, and have adjusted accordingly. Added a landscaping section, formalized all the sections from articles, edited for spelling, grammar, and consistency of terminology. We've arranged it to have similar margins and page arrangements. So not only does it for it to look better, but to work better in a more simpler manner. I think what's come out of it, and this is definitely a draft that I believe that needs to be looked at by Corporation Counsel at the least. We've arranged it. It's easier to locate sections. It's more user friendly for the public to use, and hopefully easier for the CEO to use in his enforcement and his interpretation. Pat, do you have any comments? I know you've been reading it for the last 2 or 3, 4 weeks. What do you have to say, if anything?
I've been working on it. It looks good. I like the formatting. I've been going through it section by section, and looking at the changes and the like. I've been sitting here, trying to match up because of the reformatting.
Yes,
it's not that easy to find the old section versus new section and put them together.
That's why it would be much better we work with on a face-by-face level and work it through so I could help you and you could help me.
Right. Yeah.
So everybody, to stay up with us, this is up on the drive under zoning regulations. Keith has been working hard on this. And again, this is just like what Pat was saying. It's just kind of replaced and just cleaned up. And what I would like to do is call this phase 1 and plan a public hearing soon to start finalizing or getting into the steps of moving ahead. This is not the final thing. This is just one of several steps that in my world, or what I'm visualizing, is having a dozen steps, and this being the first one to clean up the most obvious and flagrant mistakes and errors that are in the regulations. Okay.
I think it,
go ahead, John.
it definitely should be reviewed by council. Mr. Condon, or if we still have our land use attorney. At some point in the future before we go to a public hearing, but.
Well, I'm trying to think of a way to do this. You know, we spend a lot of money. You know, we brought NBCOG in, and having an attorney kick in 20, 30 hours or reading this or trying to do this, I'm kind of struggling on that, because that's a cost to the town that Pat and I were talking about this, and that this is, again, a very small step that if we do find something or things in there, we can quickly correct or change. I guess I'm struggling on the huge amount of hours that an attorney is going to need to look at everything that we're doing.
Yeah, and I see the point about trying to save the town some money, but when you're dealing with, you know, potential legal effects of changes in regulations that may impact the town from a liability perspective down the road, with, you know, potential litigation where I don't think anyone can review these. I can't, as a member of the commission, review them as a lawyer in the same way that Mr. Condon or our other land use counsel would. So I think at the very least, it should be run by, the first selectman and Mr. Condon, just to have them, you know, tell us that they're not interested in looking at it. If we're not interested, but I think Mr. Condon would probably want to review it to some extent, at least look over the form.
Okay.
You know, it would probably be an expense, but I think it's probably good money spent.
Well, let me ask you a question, Keith.
Yes.
What do you have at NBCOG that can assist us in this?
Practically no one. I can pose that question tomorrow to Rick and to Mark Nielsen, my two bosses. And Mark used to be a town planner. He might be able to help me.
COG can't represent the town of Oxford.
Yeah. So
even if you had a COG lawyer look it over, you don't have a lawyer for the town reviewing proposed regulations and ordinances. So it's just something to consider. You might want to send it up the chain and see what they think.
All right, Keith, what I
Yes,
would like
sir.
to do is ask your people in there what they would advise to do.
Okay.
What steps we should take. Any hours that we can save with attorneys and doing this. I guess in my mind, when I sold this to the finance board, I told them that this will reduce our hours and lawyers, not increase it. So
Sure.
That's what I'm trying to find solutions or options to, or to, if someone at your NBCOG can say, let me look through it, I'll make some of my quick changes, and then that might save a lawyer from reading it and doing 10 what ifs instead of 20 what ifs, which will save time.
Sounds reasonable.
if you would, please, since we're paying for the service, let's exhaust that to its entirety first, and then I want to try to save on attorney time.
Sure.
Okay, but the board knows is that nothing's going to happen without you guys. So I'm just trying to do it this way, and then we'll go back in front of the board. We'll make a public hearing, and again, this is where this all happens. It's not a final deal. It's not done. It's not completed. It's like the POCD, if you guys remember that. It's several steps, and changes can be made through the whole process.
Exactly. And there's no time constraints on the need to either open or close a public hearing.
Correct. Yeah, on these regulation changes. Okay, so don't feel like we're under any kind of pressure or any kind of thing. I just want to keep it moving forward. Otherwise, it's going to stall out.
No problem.
Okay.
You bet.
Keith, it does look good. I glanced through a bunch of pages today, and you're doing a lot of good work, and we appreciate it. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Keith, Steve McCary, how are you?
Hey, Steve.
Good. Could you, I don't know, did you email me a copy of those regs? I just like to look them over.
Sure. I'll do it again. I think I did, but I'll do it again.
Okay, I'll look. Also, you gave me an email on the rooftop dining.
Well, not rooftop dining. You have
outdoor
to
dining?
remember, yeah, this is another issue, Jeff, is that restaurants will be opening up in the next 20, 30 days in the state of Connecticut, yet they aren't going to be able to have indoor dining. There's going to be a lot of restaurants who are going to come to Steve's office or see Jessica and Steve to see whether they could put tables outside, put tables in parking lots, put tables near sidewalks.
Really?
They're going to have to use all their space in order to accommodate, hopefully, future diners. This is a big issue in the state now, and there's going to be some things that are coming down that the governor might even pass a new order for to suspend some of these zoning regulations. But that has actually been debated all day today amongst the planners, and we'll find out in the next week or two how zoning is going to react to some of these reopenings, the soft reopenings. Very interesting.
Yeah, I don't even know where to
I think,
Coach Burley here.
oh, sorry, go ahead, Pat.
Up in Somerville, Mass, and Boston, they do allow some parking spaces to actually be taken up outside of these little restaurants, that are right on the sidewalks. They actually allow certain times of the day and or evenings.
Yes.
For some parking spaces to actually be cordoned off and used as dining areas.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be something to, look into, see what their regulations are.
We're going to be looking at that and passing that out to the various communities of NVCOG in the next week or so.
Yeah, just thought I'd bring that up, that I have seen that, where parking lots are being used for dining.
You bet.
It's going to be interesting.
Yep.
What did you say, Pat? Do a new use permit?
Maybe so. Or even a temporary use permit.
Yeah.
I would say temporary use.
Yeah, I would define the time frame on that.
You bet.
Because, in 2 years or something, they're going to be having indoor, outdoor, and parking lot seating.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I can't see. I mean, the first thing that's going through my mind is like the Oxford Tavern, and you're putting tables and chairs in the parking lot where they're coming in off of 67 at 40 miles an hour.
Exactly.
I forgot the tables and chairs are there, and poof, But all right, I guess we'll address it when it comes.
You bet.
It's going to be interesting. Thanks for the heads up.
You bet. No problem.
We'll talk soon.
You bet. Take care. Have a good night.
You too.
Thanks, Keith. I'll be in touch.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Keith.
You bet. Let's talk tomorrow if you can, Pat.
All right, I'll drop you a call.
Excellent.
Okay, the bond release request is Z07-061Z008-041. Jessica, did you get my message on that today?
I did, and I'm sorry I didn't get back to you on that. I talked to Kevin. I think I talked to Steve and Kevin last week about this before we were back in the office. And I told Kevin I thought I had emailed it to him and that I would email it to him again. But since we got sent home yesterday, I didn't do it yesterday. So I will put it on my list of things to make sure I do tomorrow.
Okay. So, yeah, just resend it. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
But,
No, I'll resend it to him.
okay, thank you. Signed letter discussion with possible action. This is the letter that I think we finished up last meeting. Dave just made the corrections. They looked great. And I think we voted on it to be completed. Is that right, Jess? It being done?
I thought so. I didn't put it here because I figured that we could just go ahead and do it. Dave just had to make the minor changes.
All right, so let's just make a motion that the letter is complete and let's send it out to all departments that are necessary to see this letter.
All right, is that town organizations and departments, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Anybody that we can think of that has signs up there, the high school, the Quaker school, all the schools, all the town department, park and rec, everybody.
Okay.
And let's get that out. And then if you could, who are you going to make that list, Jessica? Who would generate that list?
I know that we have one that we could work off of from the town clerk's office. It's a list of all the boards and commissions. And I'm sure if we put our heads together, I'm sure we can come up with all of them.
All right. So what is
Organizations as well.
Go ahead, Pat.
The organizations as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the commissions, but the organizations. But I'll make a motion to send that out.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Hearing
Hey,
none, motion carries.
Jess, this is Dave. Jess, one quick note. Just make sure you adjust the date that I had on there. When
Okay.
you do send it out, I had it set for June 1st, but just, that would be the only thing just to give you a heads up on.
Okay, thank you. Did we do the minutes, guys?
No.
No, I missed that. All right, we'll go
That's
back to
okay.
the minutes.
I
in a
just-
second. But that list
Yep.
that you're generating, that you can start with, and whatever else we think of, can you put that list in the next week's meeting or next meeting so that we can see everybody, and then everybody will look at it and say, oh, we forgot this one, this one, and this one. We'll
Okay.
get to it
Yep.
As we progress, okay?
Yep.
Thank you, Jess. Okay, so I need a motion to approve April 21st, 2020 regular meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
So second, there you go. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Going back to any other business the commission deems necessary? Okay, hearing none. Questions and items deemed necessary discussion in the next meeting, email planningandzoning.gov. Okay, same thing. All right, guys, girls, thank you. Do we have, even though I know you guys don't want to go anywhere and you want to hang out here all night, especially Cinco de Mayo. Everybody, I'm toasting you with my virtual margarita, wishing you a happy Cinco de Mayo. Who's going to toast me back?
Have a happy Cinco de
I'll
Mayo.
go grab
Here's
one.
the, Jeff.
Oh, wait, were we supposed to wait to start them?
I drink alone.
You,
All right.
you guys think this is coffee?
All right, Dave. Well, John's usually drinking his glass of red wine and stuff. I don't see him. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
So
Second.
moved.
All right. Any, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, guys, thank you very much. Jessica, thank you.
Okay.
All the town people who joined us, thank you.
Thanks all.
Take care.
Good night, Jeff.
Be well,
Please,
everybody.
everyone, take care.
Bye.
Good night.
Mary.
Right.